Arsalan, so your harness is done. Sorry, man. I was supposed to send you the video a little earlier than now, but here we go. Let's quickly go through all of this with you. Okay, so starting here in the front, you've obviously got your EFI water temp sensor. Okay, just underneath that, you'll see that there is a little stopper plug. You can unscrew that, put in a Toyota cluster sender unit. I can send you the part number for that if need be. Okay. We add this connector in. That's for the water temp sensor for your instrument cluster, okay, your engine temperature. That'll plug straight into that one over there. Okay, it's not standard on a 4.3, but they do still have that that stopper plug that you can screw it out and screw in the original sensor. Okay, your VVT actuator right hand side, the connector there was replaced. Running down here, all of the coil connectors have not been replaced. These connectors they never go bad. Okay, and the injector connectors were also not replaced on this harness. Okay, so we'll obviously amend your invoice according to that. Under your engine cover bracket, you'll see there's a 2-pin connector over there. Pretty important. Plug it in. That is to do with your variable intake length. Okay, so that connects up to the actuator. You'll see it runs down the back here, goes under your intake manifold. When you start the engine, this lever should pull down like that. Now I think it's about 3,000 to 2,800 RPM. Then it'll return back to its normal position. Okay, changes the intake length, the length of your intake chambers. Okay, back of the cylinder head on the side, you've got an earth strap. And on that side there, you've got another one. These are your main earths for the engine system, for the management system. Please make sure that those are properly secured and that there's no paint or whatever on the cylinder heads that's going to stop a proper ground. Okay, so back over here, it comes out. You've got a fork off. This one goes through to your airflow meter, so that's a 5-pin connector. You'll see when it's plugged in, this actually has to face forward, okay, just to get your airflow meter the right way around, otherwise it's not going to run. Okay, running down here, you've got another branch off over there. It goes into your alternator. Okay, so that's a 3-pin connector. Alternator light, all of that stuff you'll find in your client plug, okay, your pigtail that you'll be connecting. We'll get to that in a minute. Another fork off goes to your right hand O2 sensor. Make sure that these two, both right and left, are connected, because the management system does look for them and adjust its air fuel ratios according. So if you do not have them plugged in, it'll default running rich, and you don't want that. Otherwise it's going to be terrible on fuel consumption. Okay, this side exactly the same thing. All of the injector connectors have not been replaced. Okay, and the coil connectors have not been replaced. I'll have a look at your cam. So these are your post VVT cam position sensors. Okay, I don't think that they have been replaced, but I'll check out which ones have and haven't, and then amend the invoice, like I say, to match. This is basically just a noise filter. You've got one on either side. If you don't have them, not a train smash. A lot of the systems only actually run one. This is only for noise on your radio. Okay, so it gets rid of that whining sound that you would find if you don't have those filters in. Over here in the front goes to your throttle position sensor. Okay, obviously your left hand VVT actuator, and there's your pre-VVT cam position sensor, okay, in the front. And then it wraps around and it goes to your connector for your aircon pump. Okay, and this bridge would normally run through this cavity over here behind the aircon pump, and it'll come out over here. I haven't routed it like that because this is just a start stand motor. Okay, so we've just run it around here, and it plugs into your cam position sensor. And then this is for your oil pressure light. Mid-sump has the oil filter running in the front here with its pressure switch. Okay, so this I haven't connected because mine's way at the back over there. Okay, but that's pretty much as far as what this side of the motor goes. Coming down here, here's your left-hand O2 sensor. Okay, runs down, goes to your input speed sensor. It goes to your solenoid connections, okay, and your output speed sensor, and then obviously on the side goes to your position switch, okay. Going to ECU side, so this obviously all bolts down, okay. It comes out, it's got a T that's over here, and it goes through to your fuse box. I've just hooked it on here for now. Let me quickly get the lid off there for you. So there you got your EFI and your main relays, you've got your fuel control relays, you've got your starter relay, you've got all of your fuses, okay. All of these are marked in the bottom of the fuse box. I'll show you that in a minute. That's an LED. That's basically your engine light. So when you're running the engine, that light should switch off. If it doesn't, then there's an error on the motor, and you can basically read diagnostics via OBD2, and it'll tell you what is wrong. That single terminal over there is simply an earth. We put that in all of our fuse boxes as a standard. Okay, so you can easily use that earth to do any checks on your fuses. Okay. Yeah, bottom of the fuse box lid has all of the descriptions, like I say, okay, for everything going on in the fuse box itself. And then coming down here, you've got a grommet, so this will seal. It'll seal your ECU from the elements, okay, because this is a front harness ECU, so your ECU will be in the engine bay, okay. So just make a nice box, or use an original Toyota box, either which way. Just make sure that that does seal and that there's no water that's going to get into your computer. This 8-gauge red wire gets connected directly to your battery positive. That's going to be your main power supply for the entire system. Okay, then you've obviously got your ECU and your ECU connectors. I will put a label on here, and it will have all the calibration data, part number, all of that stuff, okay. And then over here we have these connectors. So this is the main connector that you're going to be connecting to your vehicle. This is to get it to run and for your instrument cluster, okay. So how you're going to connect that is it's in the form of a pigtail, so this will plug into that, okay, and then you'll connect these wires to your vehicle. So green is ignition, brown and yellow is start signal, your red over there is your fuel pump power supply, your white with the blue is your rev counter, your yellow with the green is going to be your temperature, and then on the other side you've got a white with a yellow, that is going to be your oil pressure light. The pink one's going to be your charge light, the yellow one is going to be your engine light, and the black with the white stripe is going to be your aircon compressor's clutch, okay. This is all to do with your transmission. So you've got your park, reverse, neutral drive, overdrive, 3 to an L, okay. All of that will also be a pigtail, and that you can connect up to your shifter and overdrive switch and whatnot. Okay, so these two are two that you don't have to worry about at all. These are going to basically plug into this patch harness over here. So let me quickly do that. So the 6-pin is allocated for your throttle pedal, okay, and the 4-pin is allocated for your diagnostics. So these two you run into the cab of your vehicle, and then you'll see on the other end here you have got a 6-pin which will plug into your accelerator pedal, and you've got a OBD2 diagnostics connector. Okay, very, very simple. Yeah, really, really simple stuff. It's very simple to connect. You should have no problems at all. You'll see here, so we're just going to plug in the start stand over there. This I'm obviously not going to be concerned about for now, because it's just for the lights and the overdrive switch. It makes no difference on the test run. Okay, so I'll plug in the accelerator pedal and get the airbox on here and plug in the airflow meter, and then we will give her a test run, and we will do a scan for trouble codes, make sure that all your OBD2 diagnostics is working properly. Okay, so airbox I've plugged in. Like I said, just make sure, you'll see on the airflow meter, just make sure the plug is facing forward, okay, or it must be in this direction, so the airflow must be running that way. Otherwise, if it's the wrong way around, the computer's going to think that there's no air going into the motor, and therefore it'll give no fuel, okay. So just be aware of that, but I think you've got that pretty much right on your vehicle anyway. This over here is your engine block ventilation system. Make sure that this is connected. So there's a tube on your right-hand valve bank. Okay, make sure that that is connected into your intake tube. It's very important that it is connected to that, because that air, in the end of the day, is going to be entered into your intake chamber, and therefore obviously has to be calculated by the airflow meter. So yeah, it goes in this way into the engine block, and then it comes out over here through this valve, okay, and it goes up and it connects onto your throttle body, okay. Yeah, just make sure that all of that is properly set up, okay. Yeah, we'll give her a test run quick. So yeah, okay, I've plugged in our accelerator pedal, okay, and I've plugged in our Bluetooth diagnostics. So we'll do a scan there. The one thing that I wanted to tell you a little more about here is this. For your oil pressure switch, we wired this one basically so it's got oil pressure protection. So what will happen is when this is unplugged, okay, it'll switch on the fuel pump because it thinks that there is fuel or oil pressure, okay. So when your ignition is on and this is plugged in, okay, what it's going to do is it's going to get a ground through the oil pressure switch and then switch off the fuel pump. And then as soon as you crank her and start her, then what will happen is that earth will fall away and then your fuel pump will remain on. So in other words, like as it is now, it thinks that it's not getting a ground. Okay, so your fuel pump will run, but when it is plugged in, then it will switch off. Okay. A lot of guys like that. It just, if there is an oil pressure problem, then it does save your motor. So yeah, let's switch this on. As you can see there, the engine light was off on the system. I'm just going to switch on the ignition again. I'll briefly start her again for you. So we're going to switch on the ignition and we're going to go to Lexus. Okay. These scanners can take a little bit of time, so bear with me. We're going to go to 16-bit, 16-pin. Just read everything off, connect to the ECU for you. Then I'll do another start briefly. I don't have a water system connected onto the system, so I can't run it for very long. Okay. And you can see there LS4 430. Okay, and we're going to check engine and transmission. Let's read. May pick up because I haven't cleared it. Yeah, you see, no DTCs. Let me start her and then I'll rescan. Okay. So you can see there's no DTCs. She runs good. Any questions, you just let me know. But Yeah, no, there's no problems with her at all. Okay.